Anyway, here we are. Let's try this again. That's Naughty Rudolph. I'm not a him. I'm not really. I'm totally not a conventional her either. But I am a her sort of person that's very much like my sisters in the hippie rubber tramp world mainly. That's what my scene is. You know, the bikers and vehicle dwellers are my family. And I'm like any of the sisters. I'm not like any of the brothers, that's for sure. Crusty old queer hippie. She, Tommy, not Tom. You don't want to meet Tom, especially not in person. That's for real. That's not like, you know, mentally stupid shit. That's for real. I don't want to go there. I never did. Thanks. Great. Thank you, everything. So would you like to get together live sometime? Like come on over to the studio and hang out, or we could meet somewhere for beverages and maybe some live music. I don't have any wheels. It'd be really nice. My friends with wheels right now, what I got is my bestie has to stop driving. And she's up on the northeast side or northeast side. At like Grant and Columbus. That's, you know, the best I got right now for getting around town is to cool, great, sounds good. The best I have right now is to take the bus over to her place and go somewhere with her. And she don't have a whole lot of energy because she's like old and got some serious medical problems. I'm gonna blow a little bit. I need to, you know, I need to be working out. I'm going to start training with Shirley Bassey. She's a contralto. I'm going to start working up some tunes. I'm going to be releasing My Way and Who Can I Turn To When Nobody Needs Me first. And I'm trying to put together an album with local bands, collaborating with local bands. And I'm going to release it on Substack, where nobody's going to see it unless they got a paid subscription. I know Glenn Gross is already on board to do something when I get my shit together. But Amo needs $100 to come into the studio, and I'll bet Charlie Pitts and Jeff Daniels of Black Cat Bones aren't going to go in the studio for free either. But they might work out. They're of all the local bands, they're about the only ones that rehearse. They rehearse every week before they do a show. Like fucking you know, Legion of Mario might rehearse too, but Top Dead Center, man, they just go on stage and Randy would put up the put the score up on his laptop in front of him, and they just go for it. And they, you know, they're reviving it with Stephen James in the lead, and he's probably gonna do the same shit, and without any rehearsals. I don't know who they're gonna use for keys after John Einwick passed, because all the other keyboards, you know, John was the only one that they could like count on most of the time to be open in that slot. Everybody else got shit going on. it's not closing right down there. Oh well, fuck it. I really just, that's just warm up. Yeah, I will. Thank you. I'm not going to read all of it again, though. I can't believe I did that for 13 minutes without looking at the screen. What I was reading this morning was a conversation between me and Toby Tanner, who is an old biker chick living in Fredericksburg, Texas. And it's a very interesting conversation because this is how it looks. This is how it looks from our side of the street. So I'd hit her up because I'm going to lock down the private account and start collecting friends on the private accounts. Can only be people that communicate live with me regularly. I'm going to stop being too picky. But anybody who doesn't look like a fake is going to get accepted on the public account. I'm not gonna, if it looks like a real account and it looks like they're, real people, okay. If you don't, I'll hit you up, ask you what your interest is. And if I like the response, okay. Otherwise, fuck off. So anyway, this is a side of me that these people think that I'm, angry and unhappy all the time, calling the cops on them and doing nothing else. When the fact of the matter is I only go on their, it's going on their sites is like going into a gym. It's like, it's a mental workout. And I have a friend, I don't want to name her real name. She just got elected to a local city council this spring. Monkey Girl. There were several people, Monkey Girl and Al Qaeda, and Patrick Chamillo, and who the fuck else? I don't know. There were at least 6 or 7 of my friends who signed up at AMB. Monkey Girl was actually there before me, I think. There was a period there when AMB was connected with socially unacceptable, or whatever the fuck you call that. Socially uncensored, that's right. And thoughts.com. And a few people joined, but like Monkey Girl, we were talking one day about it, and she's like, of all the sites that I go to, and you're like, we're the people, we're the boomers and Gen Xers that are like cruising the internet and getting into arguments with the kids. That's what we are. And she said, all the sites I go to, that's the only one where I feel like I need to go in the shower after I log out. Because they will sweat you hard. At AMB and Kiwi, but the kid, you look at the difference if you're a member of both sides. You look at the difference at the way they sweat me at AMB and the way they sweat me at Kiwi Farms. The Kiwi Farms are just believing things that aren't true about me and badgering me about it. And the AMBs, I don't know how to describe it. There's a love-hate thing there. Addie Corey thinks that he can exploit my intellectual property for free. This has been going. He's a former, he's a former live podcaster, the Addie and Gabe show. Okay, now for April 15, 2011. Now the conversation is like, hey, look, I'm a hub in the indie underground. Okay, You know, I don't know what the fuck they call it now, but you know, we're going back into the 90s with this kind of jargon. So I'm an info hub. I've been sharing news and commentary, news and entertainment media with commentary. That's my trip into the web since 1985, somewhat. But you know, there's a scattering of things that I posted over the years that can be retrieved. The first posting, no way. The first thing that can be retrieved is from 1993, which was a report on the consensus at the Kentucky Vision Council that somebody had posted for me. And I went online full 29, and these people that are dogging me, like, you know, thinking that they're going to collect all my shit and profit from it by defaming me. It's a hell of a formula. They make a lot of money doing this shit. The gang harassment makes a lot of money on click-through revenue if they got it set up right. Because like if they have it set up right, they troll the target. The target reacts and keeps reacting, and every click is money to them. Every time the target keeps it. So, like, you know, don't feed them trolls, because they're making money off of fucking with your head. I just do it because of I don't know. I get a lot of really good good media from them that I wouldn't see anywhere else. So anyway, back to Toby and what we were talking about. I'll skip the just small talk and get to the meat. She's like, ha, at something else. Texas will probably be next. Oh, how's that recount going? We were personal small talk for a little bit. How's that recount going? Texas will probably be next. Did you hear about our great new abortion law? Incidentally, my daughter's pregnant again. Boy, I don't know if it's finished or not, but it's not going to carry any weight because of all the irregularities. There's so many fucking hate bills flying around aimed at trans kids, I can hardly keep up with those. Amber Griggle and Kim Chapley defeated 13 of them last week. Kay testified and she got fucking death threats. 9-year-old kid testifying to the state legislature of Texas. And she got death threats for doing it. What the fuck is wrong with people? The reason I hit you out of that blah, 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 blah. I should have said mazel tov instead of oi, but the way you announced it, it sounded like you weren't real pleased about it, Bubby. Texas is now the leader in voter suppression bills and has the most restrictive abortion laws. It's fucking amazing that there are so many ugly people. I'm one too, just for the other side. Fucking DeSantis in Florida signed the trans sports bill on the first day of Pride Month. He's such a fucking tool. I really think the only way to heal this country is for Trump to have a massive coronary and just die. They need to prosecute the seditious conspiracy from him down, not the wingnuts they scooped up in the streets and a few militia organizers. That's bullshit. Somebody financed that shit. People were wearing dated Civil War shirts. That's why the Repubs don't want any investigation. So many were involved. Too bad they can't control the Justice Department anymore. Everything will eventually come out. Kevin McCarthy knows it. That's why he always looks like he just saw ghosts. It's the specter of himself in prison. And Matt Gaetz, what the fuck? And Matt Gaetz, what the fuck, looks like a song title to me. Some of their fucking stadies were there, and there was a shit ton of active duty police and military, too. My Lai all over again, but on a much grander scale. Oh, never mind. Cali and Medina were punished. Yes, I heard 1 in 4 law enforcement or military. Now, what you missed, but because of the chipmunk audio, when I read through there, I went off on a tangent. We went off on a tangent talking about Garland, and how, you know, it doesn't matter that the Democrats are punking out on you know, things like the filibuster and shit. because Garland's not going to stop. It's looking like he's got an indictment coming on Trump from the Mueller investigation soon. So, yes, I heard 1 in 4 law enforcement or military. Another what the fuck. Some of my peeps are convinced we're on the verge of infrastructure and authority collapse. I'm not prepared to believe that yet. But times are scary. Did buy a pistol, though, and I've been pretty anti-gun up to this point. That's one the gonzos have been onto for years. They've been flooding into the police and military all over the country. Didn't you see them high-fiving Rittenhouse or see some of the high-ranking testimonials praising him? I missed that, but it's obvious that military and law enforcement have been filling up with these creeps. Don't know how it is in Tucson, but Fredericksburg is awful. You can look at arrests and mugshots online, and it's 95% brown folks. They throw in a token white tourist who got drunk and showed their ass once in a while to make it look good. But if you're black or Hispanic, you better not be out after 10 p.m. That's a sunset town for sure. I work nights, and they know my car and don't bother me. They also know Ernie's truck. I had to drive it when my car was in the shop. A city cop followed me all the way home one night, and we live out in the country. It was weird. 7 miles out of the city limits. Tucson is a pearl of diversity in a very sick state. Chief is gay, and his chief of staff is a bull dyke. This is an international tourist mecca. Hard asses only work the shitty neighborhoods, and they pretty well squashed the religious nationalists in the 90s and uh-ohs here during the building boom. And then it was like her old man is Hispanic. Call them Texicans. They call themselves Tejano. White people call them Texicans. Her ex and father of her children, and I don't know if they're really divorced or he's just in prison and she's like hanging out with Ernie. But he's going to die in prison most likely because of dirty cops that hated him. Got 30 years for totally trumped up fucking domestic violence charge. That his daughter testified on his behalf, and the cops still wanted him fucking locked down forever, and he got 30 years for it. You know, it's just one of them. You know, there's a biker family, and they got a little loud and throwing shit, and he went to jail. Oh, where's the stream? You know, I've had a really difficult life because of what they did to me as an infant. I have to cover up a lot of like really embarrassing physical, medical dysfunction. Always have. And I have to I wasn't supposed to have a penis there. They surgically did that to me. And all the nerve endings are in the wrong place, which is why I'm so fucking reactive. I'm really prone to rage. I break things fast, and I'm gonna break somebody's face if they're trying to keep me from leaving their space. So I keep telling these fucking idiots. And they say, "Oh, just log off." I say, "Well, I do." And I totally wash them out of my mind. But it's just, there's all these horrible people in the world that hate themselves. I mean, here's Sneasel. Listen to this shit. Now, Sneasel has an array of psychosexual disorders, astounding array. He's into that little diaper stuff. He's a furry. What the fuck else has he got? I mean, they're just, his child rape and animal. Oh, he's a zoophile for sure. His fantasies. I mean, these people are declaring, you're a confirmed pedophile dog fucker. Well, there's no proof of any of that. What really counts as proof, but in the minds of these self-loathing deviants, Just saying so is good. When I say it enough times, a lot of people believe it, and it's coming into the real world. So here, here's what I said the last. You know, here he's claiming that I masturbate to 8-year-olds and get boners from dogs is what makes you a pedophile dog burger. And this is not true. It's him latching on to something I said, distorting it to fit his confirmation bias, and running with it to all his other pervert friends. So here he's coming back and saying, it's not a lie, though. You've explicitly stated that you masturbated to photos of girls as young as 8 as prayer for healing because that's how you see yourself in your mind's eye. This makes you a pedophile and a autogynephile. Well, autogynephilia is going to disappear from the DSM-5 real soon. And you just don't know what you're talking about because you're a fucking pervert yourself. I know you think that because you scored adequate my ass on standardized tests like 60 years ago, that you believe you're some brainiac. Man, they used to trot me out in front of a fucking school, a whole fucking school assembly, me and Ruth Mendelson, as the 2 smartest kids in the school because of them fucking tests. Every fucking year. In an inner city school, I'll try that shit on for size. Now, I'm just one of those people that's real good at playing the fool. But like most kids in your position score high on them the way they're set up. This is true. The kids from the inner city and the country score low because the education system sucks. No, that's not why. It's because of bias. And you know, it's white bias and you know, white upward, you know, white capitalist bias in the tests is what it is. And the kids from the neighborhood, like the one you grow up with, typically score 75 plus. Well, I was like 99.9999999 over all the other people taking the test. On a lot of them. But you never cultivated intellect from these advantages. You just sat around and fed your mind junk food, never ever reading books. Now that's fucking hilarious. By the time I was 12, I had devoured the Book of Knowledge, the World Book, a World Atlas, and I forget which dictionary we had in the house. I in the 3rd grade, teacher freaked out on me because I wanted to read Exodus for a book report. And she's like, you can't finish that in time. I said, well, I'm halfway through it already. I when in the 90s, I mean, after my accident, I was reading a couple, 3 pulp. You know, I like action adventure, pulp fiction. I was reading a couple, 3 of those a week for years until I finally got online full time, and I haven't hardly read a paper book in since then. But I read so much, and you know, this is just an ad hominem cop out. That's all he's doing here. It becomes clear when you try to discuss scholarly articles, or when you tell people to look shit up on Google Scholar when you're frustrated, confused, and feel inadequate because your brain isn't just all that bright. So your poor cognition, coupled with your mental illness and loneliness, has resulted in your shitty lot in life where you depend on the scraps we drop to you. Well, this is why they think I'm lonely, and it's the only attention I get. What this is pure projection, young man. Pure projection. You've just described yourself and put it on me. And here's some more. Pure projections. Or no, this is just like an oxymoron here immediately. I try real hard to not be classist, but because I don't think income makes the man. Because I don't think income makes the man. But holy shit, are you poor? You're so poor, it's honestly funny. This is why they, you know, this is like an argument like that led to the line in the Declaration of Independence about the savages. It's like, I'm a fucking feral person. I live close to I live close to the ground, and my value systems aren't the same. You know, I don't believe in monoculture, so I'm not real fastidious about my hygiene, because like, hey, what the fuck? There's too much scrubbing, and you're killing off beneficial symbionts. Too clean, you're it's like killing off the predators. That you end up getting swarmed by their prey. I live in harmony with nature, not above it, like you trying hard not to be classist. You think having like 1 or 2,000 in the bank means party time? No, 1 or 2,000 in the bank means purchase of capital equipment to me. Other people recognize that such a small financial cushion is a scary situation. Me, man, I don't give a fuck. I like to end the month with a positive bank balance and a little cash in my pocket, and I'm good. I don't have those fears that you've been conditioned to think are important to work through. I just ignore that shit. It's just like you think you're too damn dumb to know you need to put diesel in a damn work truck. The fucking idiot never told me it was diesel. I didn't know because I haven't driven anything in so long. My work trucks were all gas powered. You're so pathetic. You need a damn troll board to give you guidance on how not to tear up some poor idiot's truck. No, I really didn't. I'm about done here. Writing these things out is amusing because it gives the opportunity to reflect on what a fat fucking clown you are, Thomas. But you're quite ill and your time seems short. Perhaps you should cut the cord, leave the internet for good. Enjoy your time before you have to face your creator and try to defend why you molested a child in a drug den, why you molested a dog, or why you emotionally abused your parents or anyone else who got close enough to you that they mistakenly let your words be worth a damn. You won't cut the cord. You'll be back here when loneliness sets in after the people who pity you once again ignore you. Maybe they will troll you how you want to be trolled. I own you, boy. That's 6 inches of I own you, you stupid fucking clown. I'm a smart clown. I'm, here. This is good. This was a cute little remark that really sums it up of how stupid these fucking clowns are. I know what I'm doing. I know when I'm being stupid, and I know when I fuck up, and I just roll with it. I don't care. You want to understand me as a performance artist, you might want to go and read Robin Williams' autobiography, not his autobiography, his biography. I don't know if he ever got around to an autobiography, but you want to read a good biography of Robin Williams, because that's the kind of mind I have. It's like it sees a connection and then just goes running off on it impulsively. So I'm all over the box when I'm just rambling, when I'm sticking, when I'm just schmoozing. But excuse me, I'm a highly trained empirical scientist who just is rusty. That's what's going on there. I know how to read scientific journals. You just don't know how to understand me, and that's just a convenient way of dehumanizing me. Is you don't know what you're talking about. Well, you haven't proven that. You just say that. Saying something's bullshit does not make it bullshit. Evidence without what the fuck did the guy say? I don't know. It's like, excuse me, but facts without, facts without data are just opinions. You're not stating facts about me. You're stating your opinions about me. Prove something, motherfucker. So anyway, moving right along. Anybody interested in asking about anything, or hey, Milton, happy day. I'm just here reading troll boards, talking about how stupid these people are and what they believe is true about me and what's not really true about me. I'm totally flattening the whole pedophile dog fucker thing. It's like, that's so fucking absurd. I'm going to use it. How you doing? Here, this is good. I posted this at Q. I've been annoying them. My Facebook accounts have been blocked, and the one came unblocked yesterday, and the public will come unblocked tomorrow. So I've been annoying the fuck out of them at Kiwi Farms. Here's 5 pages of raging at me. Here's the post. I'm not significantly more intelligent than most Kiwi farmers, but I think it's safe for me to say that because I know how little I know in comparison with everything there is to know, and I know that things that were true 20 years ago may not still be true today, and don't cling to them, makes me exponentially less stupid than most of you toxic, transphobic talking turds clinging to the debunked only 2 sexes theory. And then the Bukowski quote, the problem with the world is that intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. And then we also had a philosophy of religion thing. I can't read it, it's too small. And a George Carlin clip.
Look at it this way. Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
And that's where it's at, you know. Most people are born mediocre, and the rest of us have to work at it. Because if you're smart, you're a target. Guaranteed. If you know too many things that are true, you're going to upset somebody who is living lives, a DKE clubber. So here's Feetlobe, grabbed on I know that things that were true 20 years ago may not still be true today and don't cling to them. It's like, why would something that's true not be true forever? And then there's this senior fuckface clown. Tommy, when you were on the phone with Unicorn Ranch, what did you share with them regarding your professional skills? What are they exactly? And here's some idiot feeling especially lonely today. You've been really active all day. And we'll give that an autistic. I had to. So here comes Stilgar of Troon with his considered rebuttal. Okay, dog fucker. And then Just a Butt asked, is this because I laughed at you when you said trannies were giving birth, which they are. And here's Senior Fuckface. Okay, that we read that one. A Welsh Cake said, nice piece of philosophy that has been around for thousands of years and is incredibly well ingrained to the public consciousness. Doesn't make you any less of a sex offender. Well, what it does is make you, for calling me a sex offender, which implies that I've been convicted of something, makes you a believer of lies. And here's Blue Arm Devil. I'm pretty sure the average farmer knows the difference between diesel and gasoline pumps. Also, that bringing weed into a courthouse is a bad idea. Finger blasting dogs and sleeping with minors is bad too. Ham Bubger. If you truly believe that you're female, why don't you head to the sperm bank and try getting inseminated so you can give birth to a swamp baby? Oh, I think they're talking to D. Price there. I don't know. Intelligence and madness often live together, but not in your case. That's just dementia. Tom, do you have AIDS? No. Shut the fuck up, dog fucker. I don't know what this guy's. I don't know if the Dave's there or what's going on here. Have I got everything opened? Yeah, I guess. Is everything open here? Now I wrote a bunch of shit here because some people actually asked. decent questions. So here's my response to Senior Fuckface and Feetlow. I have a lifetime of experience in administration of small to medium-sized, less than 200 employees, light manufacturing and distribution businesses, with a personal area of specialization in permaculture and aquaponics. I also integrate multimedia Windows PC network hardware from components. And this doesn't make me any kind of computer genius because I don't do any programming of it. I just put shit together. No, I've been doing erector sets when I was a little kid. Me, a friend of his, were charter members of the Home Brew Club, building 4-seat x86 PC land from scratch, running custom software for a truckload freight leasing business on top of MS-DOS in 1984 and early 1985 before Windows 1 had ever been released. Roger Sherman went on to become one of the 40-year-old Microsoft millionaires. I couldn't hang because my friendship was more important to me than the money I was getting burned out on lying to everybody every day in the dispatch. 6 lines. I'd have one guy. I'd have a driver on one line, the traffic manager at the consignee on another line, and the traffic manager at the shipper on another line to all 3 of them. I couldn't take it after a while. My family had the kids working part-time by the time we were 8 or 9, shoveling shit on the farm or pushing carts around in the girdle factory. And if we were working full-time, we weren't allowed to play boss's kids at all because my father didn't want his crew giving him any grief about his fuck-off kids. I have designs for energy, self-sufficient eco-villages swimming in my head, looking for capitalization. This is where it gets fun. That's why I perked up so much when I got tagged. They didn't bite, and it's looking more and more like they were a bunch of leftist prep for accelerationists. I'm the monkey in the middle of the road. They're way too extreme for my networks. That's a very good question to Feetlow. And the biggest difference between scientific knowledge and biblical facts. Just about the only science that's really fixed and certain is quantum mechanics, and there are exceptions thrown to those rules too. Soft sciences, well, we have an incoming. This looks familiar. That might be Tayo. Hello? Yeah, bye, Trayvon. This fucking idiot called me up trying to get me to buy some crack from him or something. I don't know. I got blocked that. No, somebody's trying to. I'm not gonna pick it up from a private number. You can fuck off with that shit. Just about the only science that's really fixed and certain is quantum mechanics, and there are exceptions to those rules. Soft sciences like psychology and sociology are both totally subjective evaluations of trends to form conclusions, and there's a huge amount of disagreement on what is or isn't a mental illness. None of the letters in the basic alphabet soup, LGBTQIA, are mental illnesses. Blanchard's autogynephilia theory, or BAT, has been repeatedly refuted in peer review and will almost certainly be removed from the DSM-5 or 6 or 7. Realize that there are scientists being paid to fudge data to lie to you about things like carbon emissions, climate change, GMO foods, and pharmaceuticals. Reproducibility is a must for calling anything a scientific fact, and that it must stand up to the peer review process before it's accepted as such. Google scientific method. To allow for the fluidity that exists from all the exceptions to the rules, I prefer to describe things in terms in the soft sciences and the biological sciences as likely to or unlikely to result in a particular result given a specific set of parameters. 0 and infinity are just reference points. Experimental data results in curves that approach 0 and infinity, but never reach them. Nothing is always true or always false. At most, the most accurate thing we can say is that something is almost always true or always false. There's been a huge shift in the understanding of science, of the science of sex and gender in the past 20 years. The only two sexist theory is dead and buried in anything published after about 2018. There's no dimorphic brain. There's no way to look at a brain and say, oh yeah, that's a female or that's a male. No way to do it. The numerous long-term studies. Oh, spend some time with Google Scholar and study current literature. This must be this is what Sneasel's talking about. I'm real. He's phony. Plain and simple. He's just a fucking poser. He's a sick, degenerate, fucking psychic vampire, parasitic fucking predator. There are numerous long-term studies appearing that prove conclusively that social transition is the best treatment for gender dysphoria and associated body dysmorphia. And I, as an adult who transitioned, I can only say that it saved my life. I really wanted to die. I'd had enough of this shit. By the time I was finally able to come out, I've always wanted to be dead already so I could be reborn and healed. They thought I was going to kill somebody by the time I was 20. Satisfaction rates for the surgeries are very high and the detransition rates are very low, with most of those detransitioning due to social pressures, not because they didn't feel trans anymore. So to this Welsh cake asshole who said, doesn't make you any less of a sex offender, that statement makes you a gullible hypocrite who believes lies and repeats them. Any last words before you're sent to the land of the ignored ignorati? So here's another idiot. Here's the response to that. So why have you spent the better part of 40 years shitting yourself on the sidewalk, dumpster diving, whining about big old meanies on the internet and so on, if you're such a hyper-intelligent computer science? This is just like obvious, like goofy kid watching cartoons. Fuck off. I'm a rainbow warrior. I was on the front lines of the gentrification wars for the first 20 years and fighting it from a desk for the last 20 years. So fuck off. I'm not a computer scientist. I'm a hardware integrator. It's more like I'm an electrician. It's what I'm an electrician with a specialty is what I am. I gave up on trying to, teach the fucking things how to do anything. Computers are only as smart as the people who program them. I just didn't have the desire to sit in a dark room for my whole life. Scribbling on paper. No, I ain't going there. Gave it up in 1974. So here's Feedlow, and he came back with a good response. This is the only, this is the reason I put up with this shit, is that people will show up and actually have something intelligent to say. This is why I don't think science is the key to knowledge. I put science in quotes because it has been truly disconnected from the scientific method as a discrete idea. Yeah, there's, in organic chemistry has to be very strict or you blow up the lab. The further away you get from quantum mechanics into social sciences, the less rigorous their scientific method becomes. We call them rat runners in the American Mutilation Association. That's the AMA, American Medical Association, is AMA and caps. AMA in lowercase is the American Mutilation Association. That's why I write in with lowercase most of the time. That's because when we're inputting something into a live DOS command prompt, I would fat finger the enter key reaching for like the apostrophe or something or brackets, I'd hit the enter key and it just upload the whole thing and trash it. So I'm breaking myself from that now, that more that, you know, most active writing windows don't, and you need to hit a button. You know, they got the keyboard controls for most writing windows aren't, you know, they got the DOS keyboard controls disabled. Now it's just a plain typewriter you're typing on in most writing windows now, but fucking Facebook hasn't gotten around to that yet. So you have to be careful there when you're commenting on anything. But this is an interesting, that's a really good response, because he brought up, I don't study this shit. I don't go anywhere near that crap. No, that's Sneasel's right about that. Is I won't read it. I'm not interested. No longer do scientists try to measure a factual and objective world. Instead, their minds are poisoned by subjectivism. Have you read Simulacra and Simulation? It's a seminal work in postmodernism, and its basic thesis is that all frameworks by which we understand the world are merely constructs, and that there is not truly any reality being observed. This is the thesis by which modern science is done. There's really no real concrete thing being studied. Instead, there's a vague amalgam of intersubjective ideas called LGBTQIA with no meaningful definition of characteristics. Cults of peer review support their own. And since it's all subjective, we can use critical theory to debunk or support any idea at will. There's no testing for truth because there's no acknowledgement that truth exists, but that's not really true, and I'll get back to that. The hormonal and sociological arguments by which you justify your womanhood are the same sort of magical thinking I have seen in sovereign citizens. A is a thing that B does, and C is doing A, so C is B. By this game of associations, we can make anything into anything. Women wear dresses, and I'm wearing a dress, so I'm a woman. Racism is something white people do, and you're white, so you're racist. Christ was the Son of God, and Ra was the Son of God, so Ra and Christ are the same. It's something that has the seemingness of reason, but isn't really reasonable at all. Magical thinking is how cults reason with you. Magical thinking is how the fat guy at a convention center with a whiteboard convinces you that the Vatican owns your soul because of your birth certificate. And if you just write a check to the Vatican in red ink that I can wash off, and the amount of $50,000 in black ink, the Vatican will give you all your money back. You don't want to be a slave, do you, Tommy? Come on, write me. Write the Vatican the check. So, you know, here's the sort of like intellectual dishonesty and just willful stupidity. This one calls himself Razorback Bacon. So here he clips out, I have a lifetime experience in administration of small to medium-sized light manufacturing and distribution business with personal area specialization in permaculture and aquaponics. You delivered fish tanks with 20 other guys, got it. So back to the intelligent person. You win a Tommy Award for being the first Kiwi farmer to accept my invitation to have a deep and friendly discussion on a topic that's been irritating the shit out of me in forums for years. With the armed and inbred religious fanatics and their prosperity gospel, and all the queers battling it out in the oppression Olympic shame and blame games, one side armed with ancient religious texts and obsolete biology, and the other side swinging pseudoscience with everybody operating on paranoid delusions generated anecdotally. You get special props for bringing one of the pseudoscientists I've never heard of to the table. I was wondering if the fat guy in the convention center was hypothetical or did that actually happen? I've never heard of the Vatican running out that line. That comes from the evangelical fundies. The prosperity gospel is Ken Copeland, Pat Robertson, Joel Osteen, that crowd. And they're doing real well with it. And that crazy bitch, that blonde lady that she's big time, that Trump's White House preacher. But this guy, when I looked up Simulacra and Simulations, there was a character named Gene Baudrillard. And I looked at it a little bit, and this was my response. Psychobabble, like this guy shits out of his brain through his fingers, isn't science. You may as well call this stuff Baudrillardism, just like the material dialectic is what Marxism is. Somebody's opinion that people believe, isms that attract ists. I think Kurt Vonnegut called things like this Wampeters, Foma, and Granfalloons that cause druplets to aggregate into a cuirass in the Baconist culture he created in Cat's Cradle. It's been many years since the last time I read it, so I'm probably not nearly accurate. There's several more terms I'm not remembering. The Church of God, the utterly indifferent, and the suffering of Malachi Constant in Sirens of Titan has a lot of deep and profound lessons too. When somebody is giving you but the science argument, remind them with the William Edwards Deming quote, he was an engineer, data engineer. Without data, you're just another person with an opinion. And the burden of proof is on them. I get paid to research things. Prove your own points, Bubba. White privilege is, and that's when I get frustrated. You know, when you keep jam. It's like, hey, fuck you. Prove me wrong. White privilege is real, but racism is something everybody does. You don't get a pass just because of power disparity. If you hate somebody for no other reason than their race, that's racist, no matter what race you are. I do think we need to ditch the arbitrary and unscientific definition of race altogether and talk more in terms of culture, like Muhammad Ali does in this interview. I definitely agree with Morgan Freeman. We need to stop talking in terms of people being black and white altogether. As long as we talk in those terms, people will walk that talk in those terms, and people don't come in black and white or white. Correlation is not causation. And the dress thing is especially absurd. Dresses don't have anything to do with anybody's womanhood, and having a penis doesn't automatically make you masculine. Vice versa for femininity and vaginas. Vaginas and uteruses are not what makes a woman feminine. We need to clarify what is a gender identity and what is a gender role first. Gender identity is innate feelings of masculinity or femininity embedded deep in the cerebral cortex, translated out through the hippocampus, hypothalamus, pineal, and pituitary glands, through the lymphatic system and nerves to the muscle, manifesting the potential for masculine or feminine movement, posturing, and speech patterns. This is where the cultural construct kicks in, and it kicks in early, programming girls for pink and boys for blue. The arguments justifying my womanhood are genetic and neurological. I'm intersex, not transsexual. The hormones, in my case, work a hell of a lot better in managing my behavioral health issues than anything the shrinks ever tried to give me. And then, a lot of this was off the top of my head, but I can easily go out and, find the accurate descriptions of the pathways and stuff like that. This was just a little nugget of how we're born with a gender identity and build our gender role from the genetic potentials along with conforming to local cultural norms for the gender role that we've chosen about how our gender identity makes us feel. Now, it's that nature versus nurture argument, and it's both. Nature first, and then nurture is how you, your instincts or how you react to situations. And over time, you build reflex pathways so that you automatically respond to that situation when it comes up again. I'm gonna probably have to quit. When I get to talking too much, I inhale too much dust, and then my throat goes nuts. you know, so it's not COPD. It's something I've lived with all my life. They damaged me down below, and it fucked everything up. My butt doesn't work right. My bladder doesn't work right. My sinuses don't work right. You know, these people ridicule me for it. You know, that just talks about what kind of people they are. Need to lubricate my throat a little bit before I get started. It's not about wanting to be a man or woman with trans people. We feel like men or women, so therefore we are men and women, despite our transness with our genitals. The cliche mongers like to say it's about hearts, not parts. Basically, physical sex is limited to the genitals and has no control over the gender identity of the brain. Further, the brain is not dimorphic in terms of a distinctly male or female brain. There are structures that are thought to be dimorphic, but gendered behavior is controlled by a mosaic of structures in the brain, so that in the overall population, masculinity and femininity present on a spectrum. I never score 100% female. Most often I'm in the 60 to 80% range. But I sure score up high on the transness. I think they call it Cognition test or something. I don't know. I forget. But I was like, yeah, you're trans. Like, seriously, when did you realize you were cisgender and heterosexual? Come on. You know, that's everybody's favorite question. When did you know you wanted, you know, when did you know your dick wanted your dick wanted to go in a pussy? And when you know, now for me it's real weird because like my dreams, I'm the bottom, and you know, a hunk of a man, you know, somewhere in the 6'2" range, and a really beautiful man with big warm eyes, and I think his eyes are green, broad shoulders, and not a real big dick. But that's not happening. That's in my dreams. In the waking world, there's a penis down there, and it wants to go in a vagina and nothing else. And it's not really fussy about what it is. It's not fussy enough about what kind of vagina. Let's put it that way. It's like, no, shut up. We don't do that. No, they fucked up my nerves. What happened? And you know, my skin is so sensitive, it's picking up pheromones from dogs sometimes. And I imagine, I mean, that this is the reason for what happened, is that I got that sensation, you know, the thought about porking the dog rose in my head when I saw a dog that looked like my old dog a little bit. And I was like, no, I'd slap that down. And I wrote about it, and naturally Sneasel interpreted that as I get a hard on about dogs and lust after them. These people don't understand that, you know, I'm working with a damaged nervous system. I have all my life. And I'm pretty proud of what I've accomplished in spite of my disabilities. You know, I have no mobility impairment from it. It's all mental impairments. And a less mentally well psyche would have killed itself a long time ago, or somebody else. And this is why there's so high incidence of suicide among transgender people. That are it's because of all the hate that's directed at us. Rejection by our family and getting bullied all over the neighborhood, and that drives people to suicide. So I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be a girl until I was almost 4, when I was informed that girls don't have penises and boys only cry when they bleed. Don't even try to use the XX over XY shit on me over orientation either. Try to wrap your head around this. My karyotype is XY, but my brain hormone panel was much more female than male. My heart is attracted to a more masculine, but softer Sam Elliott or Willie Nelson sort of man. But my penis is attracted to vaginas. My sex fantasies are of me being penetrated by a man, but I'm horrified with the thought of a pecker in my pooper. I think a trans man penetrated by a trans woman. Hello. I clicked on something and it jumped. Oh, that's why it jumped. There were some comments that come in. Where was I? Okay, I think a trans man penetrated by trans women is heterosexual, and trans woman penetrating cis woman is transgender. But start getting into the outer realms, and that's all hybrid identities formed from gender roles and orientations. And it's invalid to call that shit anything but social constructs. To assert that the basic identity and orientation potentials we're born with to be a construct is invalid. It's the gender role we play and the presentation that we build that's a construct. When the genetics and physiology of gender are looked at in the current consensus, you'll find 4 sexes: male, female, intersex males, intersex females, and hermaphrodites. Well, that's 5. Oh, no, that's 4. Male or, intersex male or female, endosex male or female is 4, I guess, and it's actually 5 hermaphrodites. But true hermaphroditism is extremely rare. Pseudo hermaphroditism is more common, which is what I am. Just I don't have typical gonads, and my secondary I have typical gonads now, but they didn't when I was born. And my secondary sexual characteristics are what's called gender ambiguous. There are actually 39. Oh, let's get a break. There you go. There are actually 39 different intersex body variations that they've defined. Now, they used to call them disorders of sex development, or a DSD. And then they copped the intersex activists a little bit and downgraded it to differences of sex development. But we want to ditch the DSD completely and use intersex body variations instead. Not all intersex people are transgender either, but I think that intersex people with typical genital formation and gender ambiguous secondary sex characteristics, like myself, are the most common. True hermaphrodites are very rare, as are most of the others, the genetic and chemical weirdness. What I am is pretty common. I mean, we're most of that 2%. Is like the trans feminine man and the trans masculine woman. We're very common. We're a lot more common than people will really understand. But that'll come out in time. The basic genetic genders are agendered, bigender, cisgender, and transgender. Still, there's too much variation both physically and psychologically to adequately define people with just those few classes. Everybody is uniquely crafted, and everybody makes their own decisions how to present themselves to the world. Everybody's valid. Celebrate the diversity. The rainbow agenda, as I know it, is to love all and hate none, in peace, love, and unity and respect. If you don't like it, don't look. If they don't want to hear it, stop trying to tell them. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Yeah, this ass clown. I don't even want to read the whole exchange. He calls himself me. I'm tight as fuck, not wet. If he is a black person, he's most likely got his fortune from dealing drugs. I have no idea. These people don't reveal things like that. But he's got some kind of war bond that's worth almost $100,000 plus some more, like $20,000 in a 401k or retirement account, and about 2,000 in checking. And he's badgering me about my ability to design an eco village using AutoCAD. And he's totally misgendering me. And the ice cream man, he wanted to know why would I want any money in escrow? Well, it's like, it's called earnest money. It's like, I ain't doing anything for you unless I know the payment is somewhere waiting. That's what's going on here with him back and forth. He thinks I'll go through the trouble of creating an escrow for something I know he can't produce. No, you assume I can't produce it. I've offered $5,000 for a drawing of his hippie pond village within 30 days using whichever software he chooses. I'd talk about contracting then. That. What I want to see first is that he's actually capable of using such software to produce meaningful plans, which Tom thinks I'll escrow for. And no, I want to escrow for just to do the drawings, fucktard. The contract comes after the proof of your skill set, Tommy. That, or give me a reason why I should accept you on your word alone. Well, I mean, if you want references, I'll be glad to give you those, ass clown. But I ain't fucking jumping through hoops for anybody for free anymore. Fuck you. And then my response to that was, there's no way I would do business with a man like you. I'd consider doing it on bet, though, chump change. Let's quick look at the notifications, and I'm coming back to the chatter to see who's here. And I'd really rather be talking with folks live than jibber jabbering on and reading shit off the screen. I'd rather be answering your questions. Yeah, Tommy, their intelligence don't go around telling people how smart they are. That's what stupid, insecure people do. Wow, intelligent people don't denigrate people trying to discuss a certain topic by raining ad hominem fallacy slurs down on them, declaring them to be incompetent, demanding they prove their competence. Try harder, Cupcake. Okay. Is there anything else worth responding to here? Nope. Anything worth responding to here? Ha! Gary Purdue has been stalking me for 12 years. Somebody with reliable information revealed that he's an opioid addict and drunkard. So I've taken to calling him drunken junkie. So, he talks about putting 3 dimes in my case. You know, this is one chicken shit motherfucker who is so much of a chicken shit. He went and snuck up on me while I was busting, dropped 3 dimes in the case, and then bragged. He's still bragging about it years later. Yeah, and I forget what I was reacting to something. What did he say? Oh, he said, every post you put out is a shit post, Dumbo. I said, that's pretty funny coming from the dog shit lasagna master chef. Dog shit lasagna was like also a verified report of the condition of his home when he sold it. There was one room that was covered in newspaper, layers of newspaper. You know, he'd throw newspaper down, dog shit on it. When it got too much shit on it, he'd throw a new layer of newspaper down. And in the mess were little bits of jewelry and stuff that he was selling that ended up on the floor. And he was demanding this one sister that he picked her up in Flagstaff to bring her back down to Chandler, which is between Tucson and Phoenix, to help him clean out his house when he sold it. And he's demanding that she pick through all this shit to get all the jewelry. She's like, no, I'm getting a garbage bag. I'm getting a barrel and a shovel for that. And he's freaking out that she's got to sort the gems from the shit. And he was only giving her like $20 a day or something like that. But he strung out good. She said he was on morphine, man. When I jammed him about it, he'd only copped oxycodone. Probably eats them 6 at a time. So when we did the 3 dimes, he lacked the courage to get close enough to give them to me, drunken junkie. And he come back with, I've done it before, not a woman. When he did it before, he snuck up when I wasn't looking and dropped 3 dimes, or just was part of the crowd going by and dropped 3 dimes. I have no idea, because then he started bragging about it. Nomad caught me. I posted a thread about gun control, specifically the AR-15. When I saw the announcement that the California ban on assault weapons was overturned, ruling that it violates the Second Amendment's right to bear arms. And the argument, I don't know about, I didn't look at that, but the argument we had been having between me and Lone Wolf is that the infringement of registration only applies to people who keep their weapons on their own property. If you're going to bring the weapon out in public, you really need to register, just like a car. If you're going to use the thing in public, you need to be licensed and registered. And Matt, he and I pretty much agreed on. And we also agreed that it wasn't going to be feasible to ban assault rifles. There's 2-3 million fucking AR-15s out there. You can collect them all? You think everybody's going to give them up without a fight? No. So like, I posted that and came back later to "You're poor. Gun laws in and of themselves are constitutional. Second Amendment is clear and to the point. Read it, Tom. You should be shot in the head. Tom wants a license for adults to be able to fuck minors. Why should I listen to him about licensing America's rifle? I am, however, genuinely curious as to if Tom has put any thought into this whatsoever. Pray tell, what would licensing the most popular rifle in America solve in terms of problems?" Okay, now at this point, I'm like, oh, fuck these guys, and I'm just hitting the reply button to just blow them all off. And requiring registration will certainly control the law-abiding populace while doing fuck all to rein in those who own and use firearms illegally. Kind of fucking pointless. So I never read that after I read the bullshit leading up to it. I just hit the reply button and then responded to that. Here's Sneasel. I like when Tom makes posts like this, where he shows his anger at some people, then kisses the ass of others. It's a transparent way in which his broke brain attempts to divide the room into people he likes and people he dislikes, thinking that if he is nice to some people, that they will attack the people he dislikes. It's a little glimpse into the way his mind works. No, that's a glimpse into your mind, Bubba. I just like people that can argue rationally. You know, I like people who can discuss issues they don't agree with without resorting to personal insults. So, like, you know, these guys derailed the thread, and I never noticed. Nomad shit, because I was going, you know, just adding these things to a group response. So here I'm apologizing to you. You know, you got me on that one. But the post was already a cesspool, and I wasn't even reading the post, just hitting the reply button. I apologize for that. And if you stop insulting me all the time and actually respond rationally, I won't do it anymore. I respond to your statement. That is true. But the stats say that gun deaths associated with property crimes have been declining steadily for years, while suicides have become 60% of gun deaths, and crimes of passion have become the majority of the homicides. The biggest threat exists in the religious nationalist militias. What do you think the solution is for that? Okay, so now I'm back, or am I? Yeah, I'm back. So nobody said anything since Milton came. Okay, it's almost 2 o'clock. Chief never showed up. I'm just rambling. Nobody's saying anything. There's only 2 people here. I'm out of here. Happy day. Bye.